The Power of Education in A Thousand Splendid Suns. So, the novel covers decades of war in Afghanistan. A Thousand Splendid Suns is about Maryam and Layla, two women who come from very different backgrounds. They are brought together after marrying the same abusive husband, Rashid. Maryam is a cynic and is motivated only by her need to survive Rashid's marriage. Layla was raised in a loving household and is motivated by the need to pursue her education and protect her family. The novel shows that the two women struggle to survive the violence within their household and their city of Kabul, and eventually Layla's escape. I'm going to provide some background information on Afghanistan just so we can have a better understanding of the events in the novel. Education in Afghanistan. According to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, everyone has the right to education. However, due to decades of conflict, it is challenging for many children, especially girls in rural areas, to receive an education in Afghanistan. There are approximately 3.7 million children without access to education in Afghanistan. 60% of this number is female. So why are there so few females in school in Afghanistan? The first reason is gender discrimination. More conservative families feel like their daughters should not attend school because they feel like their purpose is to keep house, get married, and eventually have children. Also, a lack of female teachers in all girls' schools. Many Muslim parents feel that it is inappropriate to send their young daughter to be alone in the presence of other young boys. Schools lack proper sanitation facilities. Again, Muslim parents feel uncomfortable sending their girls to a school where they do not have a private washroom, or sometimes any washroom at all. Also, there's stigma surrounding menstruation, so that means that girls miss school during their periods. Oftentimes, schools are too far away, and there's no transportation. This is especially a risk to girls, who are more at risk to be harassed or assaulted on their way to or from school. Sometimes females are even assaulted during school. Poverty forces many girls into child labor before they are old enough to go to school. And finally, 1/3 of girls marry before they are 18, forcing them to drop out of school or preventing them from ever attending school at all. So this infographic essentially summarizes what I said on the previous slide. I don't want to reread it in fear of being redundant, but for me, I'm able to better retain the knowledge when I see an infographic like this. So I have here a really interesting map showing the discrepancy between education expected for males versus education expected for females. And essentially, the darker the color on the map, the bigger the discrepancy is. So you can see in the little circle that is Afghanistan, it's almost the darkest blue on the map, meaning that overall, males in Afghanistan are expected to have much more education versus the females. Like many religions, Islam has been misconstrued to benefit those in power. Sharia law is an example of this. Sharia law, or Islamic law, is derived from aspects of Islam, specifically religious texts like the Quran. In areas that intensely follow Sharia law, like some places in Afghanistan, women's rights are often oppressed. Here are some rules that come with Sharia law that oppress women. Women must obey their husbands, women cannot leave their house without their husband or male family member, and women cannot get a job without their husband's permission. That is just a few of the rules that happen under Sharia law. However, it's important to remember this quote. Islam isn't patriarchal, but patriarchy has been heavily involved in the history of the Middle East, and has subsequently seeped into the ways Muslims practice their faith, hence Sharia law. So this is a link to a YouTube video that, if in a real presentation I'd be showing my viewers, but because this presentation is pre-recorded, I'm just going to attach the file and you can open it for yourself. However, this video highlights how challenging it is for girls in Afghanistan to get to school. It also emphasizes the ever-decreasing number of Afghan girls enrolled in school. Okay, so now that we have a plethora of background information, I'm going to introduce the thesis statement, which is, in Khaled Hosseini's novel, A Thousand Splendid Suns, the author uses his characters Maryam and Layla to emphasize that in an oppressive, patriarchal society, where women are kept uneducated to make them easier to control, education is the most powerful tool that a woman can have to make her own decisions and improve life in her community. Okay, so here's our first discussion question. Why do you think education should be a human right, and why is it so important for women to have equal access to education? Feel free to pause this video and discuss this question before we begin the quotes that support my thesis. Quotes. My first quote happens very early in the story, and it is this. What's the sense schooling a girl like you? It's like shining a spittoon, and you'll learn nothing of value in those schools. There's only one skill a woman like you and me needs in life, and they don't teach it in school. Only one skill, and it's this. Talamul. Endure. Okay, context. During this scene, Nana, Miriam's mum, informs her daughter that it would be pointless for her to attend school. The pair lives in rural and the rural Afghan village of Herat. Rural villages in Afghanistan tend to follow Sharia law more strictly than their urban counterparts, so these areas of Afghanistan tend not to value female education due to the intense misogyny. Connection to theme. Nana has internalized the patriarchal views of her village, so she does not understand the power of education for girls. Nana cannot see that allowing Miriam to attend school would give her daughter options that were not available to herself. When women attend school, they are exposed to new knowledge, and their opinions on matters can change. Had Nana sent Miriam to school, she could have prevented her marriage to Rashid, or at least delayed it. In Afghanistan, girls who have no education are 3 times more likely to be married before they turn 18 than girls in school. Attending school would have given Miriam a better chance of making an informed decision as to who she will marry and to when she will marry. Okay, my next quote, one of my favorites. Hasina used to say, "Edie and I will have pushed out 4-5 kids each, but you, Layla, you'll make us 2 dummies proud. You're gonna be somebody. I know one day I'll pick up the newspaper and find your picture on the front page." Layla is remembering a past conversation she had with her friend Hasina. Both Hasina and Gidi have conservative parents whose goal is not for their daughters to receive a higher education, but for their girls to marry and have children. Layla's parents, especially her father, are more progressive and want her to receive as much education as she can. Hasina firmly believes that with the promise of Layla's access to a higher education, her friend will be able to make a positive change in Kabul, and maybe even the world. Connection to theme. Hasina and Gidi's parents have internalized the patriarchal concept that a woman's only future should be marriage. Hasina believes that her friend will end up on the front page of a newspaper, and it emphasizes the power of education because it shows that when women are educated, they are given a chance to change their community for the better. If Hasina, Gidi, and other girls in Kabul were given the same opportunities as Layla, there could be more women capable of bringing their city out of ruin and into prosperity. So I have a fun little picture of Rosie the Riveter, kind of just showing the power that girls can have when they're given the access to education. We can do it. Wah! So I have an additional connection to theme where I'm dropping some facts. Education gives girls the power to build a better life for herself and her community. Hasina's statement emphasizes that when women are allowed to pursue an education, they are given the knowledge to make informed, independent decisions that can improve the condition of their community. For example, educated women can break the cycle of poverty. A 1% increase in female education raises the country's GDP by 0.3%. Also, educated women have the ability to improve the health, safety, and prosperity of their family and society. Layla is given the promise of this opportunity, and her friends are aware of her potential.